The following presentation is non-profit and is intended for entertainment purposes only. All events within this presentation are non-canon. Batman and all related characters are the property of DC Comics, Warner Brothers, and their respective owners. Hilarious Matrimony, a Batman fanfiction. Written and read by Robert Cantor. Chapter 10.
I'm detecting a lack of trust.
Changeling and Raven had come to Gotham City so they could interrogate Harley. The Joker just made Superman knock the Watchtower out of the sky, and then he nearly destroyed Gotham and the planet. Is there anything you haven't told me? Growled Batman.
Well, I paid off my student loans by spending my nights dancing in a club wearing nothing but body paint,
said Harley, smiling. Raven used her supernatural powers to reach out and touch Harley's mind.
Hey, what are you doing? That's my brain and stuff!
Raven was only in Harley's mind for a few seconds. Then she just couldn't take any more.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What was it like in there? Asked Gar.
It's like 50 Shades of Grey and cartoons on crystal meth.
Harley really didn't know anything, but Batman needed to be sure. Raven didn't enjoy a second of it. What was she before she joined the circus? Asked Gar. A clinical psychiatrist, replied Batman. Was she any good?
Good enough to know that you've got an inferiority complex, said Harley. Your girlfriend has some serious daddy issues, Bats obviously suffered some crime-related trauma when he was young, and I'm pretty sure that Chad is crazier than all of us put together. That'll be $800.50. Who's your insurance provider?
Raven used her powers to throw Harley against the wall.
Word of advice. You do not want to piss me off.
Who's Chad? Asked Gar.
How many times do I have to tell you guys? None of this is actually happening. There's a crazy guy with a computer, and this is all happening in his sick, twisted imagination. Permission to leave the room, Batman? Asked Raven. I desperately need to get the image of her skinny dipping in pudding out of my head.
Granted. Once the others had left the room, Batman lifted Harley off the ground.
Is this about to get NC-17?
Asked Harley. Shut up! You might not know the specifics, but you know how the Joker thinks. What's his next move?
Well, you didn't really think Mr. J was going to turn Soupy into a planet buster, right?
What are you getting at?
Come on, Bats. It's Comedy 101. He said he was going to kill the person that Bird Boy loved most. But Mr. J doesn't do anything unless he thinks it's funny. And the joke is never funny if you see the punchline coming.
While Batman was interrogating Harley in the cave, Jason was burning off steam with target practice. The sharp crack of gunfire echoed in the secluded shooting range, punctuating the silence of the surroundings as he meticulously lined up his shots. Each trigger pull was deliberate, a release of tension that had been building up within him for far too long. He needed to be ready when the time came. Though he never admitted it, he still had nightmares of when the Joker killed him.
Prepare yourself for a severe spanking, young man, but let me tell you right from the start, this is going to hurt you a lot more than it does me.
Jason remembered the pain, the blood, the feeling of helplessness, and worst of all, the Joker's haunting laugh. Jason still didn't know how he came back from the dead, and he didn't care. But even after everything the Joker had done to him, Batman still didn't kill the Joker. I want him dead more than I've ever wanted anything. But if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back. Jason thought of all the people the Joker had killed, and now he was threatening to kill Kory for no other reason than because Dick had asked her to marry him. Jason wasn't going to let that happen. Despite their differences, Dick deserved better, and so did Kory. "You're about to get your wish, old man. If you don't have the balls to do what needs to be done, then I will." Barbara walked in to see Jason taking shots at several mannequins. She knew right away that they weren't the kind of shots that left a person dead before they hit the ground. They were the kind that left a person crippled and helpless while they bled to death. She could almost hear the imagined cries of pain in her mind. "What?" barked Jason, his voice sharp and defensive, interrupting the silence that settled ominously between them.
Raven has confirmed that Harley doesn't know anything. All we got out of her was that whatever the Joker is planning, we won't see it coming.
"So, he won't savagely beat Kory with a crowbar and then blow her up," said Jason, sarcasm dripping from his tone. Jason didn't say anything about the Joker shooting Kory through the spine and paralyzing her. He wasn't going to open that wound. "It's a miracle she can walk today." Barbara may not have been willing to kill the Joker herself, but Jason would never dream of calling her weak. Jason admired her strength, the way she had fought to reclaim her life after everything had been taken from her. While others might have crumbled under the pressure, Barbara had risen.
Jason, I've been thinking.
"Don't tell me you're going soft! You hate him as much as I do!"
I'm not saying we shouldn't kill the Joker. But what if we can't?
"Barbara, I've killed people before. It's not as hard as Bruce makes it out to be."
That's not what I meant.
Barbara showed Jason the list of chemicals that made up the concoction the Joker fell into that night at Ace Chemicals. The one that Batman knew by heart. The one that kept him up at night worrying that he missed something. 11% sodium hydroxide, 34% sulfuric acid, 5% chromium solution, zinc sulfide doped with copper.
People have been running tests on the Joker since he first came to Gotham, and they've all arrived at the conclusion that he's not a metahuman, alien, or anything else. He's human.
"What's your point?" asked Jason.
That chemical concoction should have killed him,
said Barbara.
So why is he still alive?
Sodium hydroxide was commonly used by criminals to dispose of dead bodies. Mixtures of it could turn the carcasses of farm animals into something that resembled coffee. Sulfuric acid was also highly corrosive. Jason never stopped and thought about it. How many times had the Joker seemingly died, only to come back and haunt Gotham? He was just a mortal man in a purple suit, so why was he so hard to kill? Following the destruction of the Watchtower, Dick and Kory teleported to one of Batman's safe houses. It was a small island, 12 miles offshore from Gotham City. It should have been safe, at least as safe as any place could be with the Joker on the loose. When the Justice League builds a headquarters, they plan for Darkseid, said Dick. So naturally, the Joker drives Superman into a murderous rampage and brings it down.
Dick, we're going to get through this,
said Kory. This isn't over until the Joker is dead and reduced to a pile of ashes. Every second he's still breathing is another second that he could kill you.
He's not going to kill me,
said Kory, holding him close.
Our lives have been defined by tragedy, but we've both overcome them. We've fought Deathstroke, Brother Blood, my sister, and Trigon. Now that we finally have a shot at happiness, I have no intention of allowing it to get ruined by some crazy yapoika.
I assume that's Tamaranian for clown?
You assume correctly. Here's your reward.
Kory kissed him hard on the mouth. When we were up in the Watchtower, you said you have a way to pass the time? Asked Dick. Kory was wearing a face that could have melted bank vaults. She knelt in close and whispered in Dick's ear.
Donna told me that when life gets you down, nothing perks you up like a good British sitcom.
What? Asked Dick, genuinely disappointed. Is that really what you had in mind?
Naughty little Robin,
giggled Kory.
Isn't it Earth custom to wait until after the wedding for that kind of thing?
Maybe Kory had been a tease, but the old British sitcoms they found on TV did help Dick take his mind off things. He liked listening to Kory laugh, almost as much as he liked laying on the couch with her. She was always so warm, and her smile would make a blind man's heart skip a beat. They quickly lost track of time, and before they knew it, night had fallen. "Are you as hungry as I am?" asked Dick.
"Starving,"
replied Kory. Unfortunately, the safe house wasn't stocked with any food that Dick or Kory found appetizing. Dick didn't want to leave Kory alone, and he briefly considered calling Victor to have him bring them a pizza and mustard via boom tube. But a person would be able to track that if they had the right technology. Instead, Dick called Tim. It would take longer, but it would be worth the wait.
"Aw, look at this."
Kory was looking at a picture on Gar's social media page. He had long since changed his status to "in a relationship," but now Raven had finally let him post a picture of them together. Gar had taken the form of a cat and was sitting on her lap while they were watching a movie. "What do you think they're watching?" asked Dick.
For Raven, Gar would sit through anything.
Kory knew how much Raven cared for Gar, but she hadn't been able to embrace those feelings because of her inner darkness. With Trigon's death, Raven was free of her father's influence forever, and the change surprised everyone. She started to smile, and though he couldn't prove it, Gar had insisted that there were times when she had actually laughed.
Raven and Gar aren't letting anything come between them anymore. I'm not going to let this Joker person come between me and Dick.
Freezing rain started to pour outside. Eventually, Tim arrived on the island. The house's security system said that it was him, but after what happened at the Watchtower, Dick was worried that the Joker might even have some shapeshifters on his payroll. If he could use Superman as a pawn in his game, the possibilities were limitless. "What's the password?" asked Dick at the door. "Bob doesn't like clowns. Did you bring the mustard?" As if I would forget. "Thanks a million, Tim." Tim never noticed the extra weight in the pizza box, and he didn't look inside because he didn't want it to get cold. Dick took the pizza into the kitchen where Kory was waiting for him, and opened the box. There, in the middle of the pizza, was a big, ugly, Jokerized cod. "Get down!" Dick's warning came too late. The cod exploded and filled the room with a thick layer of gas. Kory didn't know how long she had been out, but when she came to, her ears were ringing. She was still in the safe house, but the lights were out, and Dick was nowhere to be seen.
"Dick? Dick?"
Dick isn't here at the moment. Please leave a message after the scream."
A loud scream echoed through the house, but it was a woman's. That's when Kory saw him emerge from out of the darkness in a flash of lightning. His hollow and soulless eyes, combined with his nightmarish grin, sent a chill down her spine. He was even more terrifying in person.
"You! I don't think we've ever been properly introduced, Stargirl. I'm the punchline to a bad joke that people on this planet call society."
To be continued. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, then like this video. Subscribe for more updates, and if you really want to help this channel out, click the links in the description below and buy my books.